This podcast was created on the lands of the Ngunnawal people, the Wurundjeri people, and Ngāti Pawa. We acknowledge the contributions of Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, and Maori people to making rugby league the greatest game of all.
You're listening to NRL Hellmouth, the podcast where we open up a portal to the rugby league realm to see what horrors and delights we can unearth. Your friend Simon here. And it's Children's Book Week this week, so I'd like to start by giving a big shout out to those hard-working parents putting the finishing touches on costumes so their kids can dress up as one of their heroes from the In a League of Their Own book series. Whether it's Tony Ray dripping wet after swimming drunk through rapids, a black-eyed Steve Roach getting punched in the face by his best mate, or even a little Mal Meninga hurtling round in a green Tirana made of cardboard. Or maybe little Johnny or Jasmina will just wanted to dress up as one of these two flawed rugby league protagonists. Daniel and James. G'day, guys.
Kind, Simon. Beanies and bucket hats. Yeah, that's made me drastically rethink my plans for the coming days. Look, my team has been eliminated now from the finals contention, and I guess you could say I'm already at the classic third stage of grief where I'm blaming DJ Havana Brown, who played the halftime show at last year's grand final, and it's been all downhill since then. But I'm going to push through my grief, at least for the time being. James, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. I've passed through that, whatever that phase of grief is, into acceptance.
Oh, good.
And all I have to say is, which is my dolphin impersonation. I believe that's what Dolphins fans do when we say, fins up. If you're a Dolphins fan, if you can please, hellmates at nrlhellmouth.com, just please help us with a sound recording of the correct dolphin sound that we do.
The official release.
After fins up.
Yeah, I think it might be more like a blowhole sound.
Oh, very creative response, Simon. Yes.
Coming up in the show today, Pokemon cards, Dante's Inferno, the new kickoff rule, and players dropping their dacks to protest local council worker overreach. Let's open it up and raise some hell.
There's the kickoff.
I deservedly apologise to everyone for my actions.
I didn't intend to disrespect anybody, and I definitely didn't do it on the car.
Well, I've been watching the seagulls, and not one of them is eating.
This is a horror movie! Rugby league! What else can this grand final provide?
He gets dacked live on television.
Stop it, it's starting to hurt!
Now, round 25 of the NRL Premiership was not a bad one for this time of the year, I felt. I spent last Friday night at the Raiders' home ground farewell to Josh Papali'i, which followed our usual pattern of losing every major milestone game. The club did rename GIO Stadium to Papa's House for the night, including a nice big light-up sign. Unfortunately, they failed to commission an apostrophe, so it just said Papa's House. And I thought maybe some nice Greek family had taken over naming rights for the stadium.
Oh, very tasteful, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could probably inject a bit of homeliness into the venue.
Yeah.
Much needed.
But it was a lovely night, and it was great to see Papa actually visibly crying while preparing to take his first hit up of the night. So thanks to the rousing on-field welcome.
That is really nice.
Quick question on the celebration. You always see the boy, Papa Jr.
Yeah.
But he has got other kids, right? He's got a daughter I saw in another photo. Does she just get excluded from all celebrations because she's not as mini-me-esque as Junior?
Correct. Noah, his son, is, if you've seen him, is basically a Papa clone, complete with a large mullet. So he's very popular. He's got his own Instagram account.
And what, the Raiders officials actually shoo the daughter away when she's near her dad and family?
She might not even get a stadium pass.
All right, fine. Just annoys me. Maybe it's her own choice. Anyway, no stone unturned when it comes to how we analyse the game.
Correct.
Yes, there was some good games out there, but it was unfortunate to kill off quite a few of the storylines, the mathematical fairy tale storylines heading into the final 2 weeks. Now we've got the top four makeup is going to be a fun one to watch. But yeah, then we've got the very flimsy chances of the Dogs and even weaker chances of the Seagulls to scrape into the 8. So there's not a lot to play for, but I do like that competition at the very top of the table.
That's right. thanks to that extraordinary Tigers beating the Roosters,
That's
we now
right.
have a three-way tie for the top.
And then
Makes it
intriguing subplot or B plot to that win was that at that around the same time the Wiggles were playing a Wiggles After Dark special concert in New York.
Wow.
Which you were watching the pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, I was on the stream of that and then obviously the game. But it's interesting to think what a night for Anthony Wiggle to potentially performing in New York, the Wiggles After Dark, which is a very special event from what I've seen, and then being able to potentially simultaneously flip to that big win. So it's all happening in the NRL Hellmouth extended universe.
In the air! In the air! In the air! Goal!
Over in the W, my team,
Oh,
the Raiders,
yeah.
thrashed the Dogs at Belmore, looking very good. Statement win.
We definitely wanted the Raiders to not have these patchy games.
From
Played
go to
very
woe.
nicely.
A windy day, though. I reckon some of Zahara Temra's high kicks would have triggered an air raid alert at the nearby Holsworthy military barracks.
Fantastic. The Tigers Knights game was also a beauty, decided by just the Racine McGregor field goal with a couple of minutes to go. But that was a great back and forth. And of course, we saw the Roosters score the highest NRLW score, putting 66 on the Warriors.
So now I think PVL probably has come to the realisation that there is a women's game. He might
That's
be saying,
right,
did
yeah.
you know, on Monday, did you know there's a women's version of the NRL?
4 players scoring doubles and Bridie Parker scoring a triple. But look, in my honest opinion, the game of the round was Sunday afternoon with the Titans and Broncos battling out a fantastic game from start to finish. There was a lot of pressure, excellent completion rate, over 1,000 combined post-contact meters, despite the intense physicality, and I might add several efforts to put Tegan Levi in a wheelchair. The Titans came through, and here we have the Broncos having lost 3 straight. This is their longest streak in history, and you know, like there's a lot of people saying that they've lost their edge, but they are just as formidable. More so, it is a great sign that the rest of the competition is catching up, and it's not just the 2-horse race that we're accustomed to. So
1 horse and 1 bird, at least.
yeah, that's right. Well, I'm very excited to see how this race pans out in the remaining weeks. And we'll be covering that, of course, in This Week in Hell later in the show.
Broncos probably not so a brigand sure thing to be in the top 2.
Really nice.
Very
Another
nice.
pun will be coming later in the
He's
show.
building up.
And in particular when people have a crack, when they don't even come to a training session, they won't front up to press conferences. Show some balls. And where are they now?
Those dicks don't know.
Guys, sometimes I feel like the rugby league gods are against this podcast because no sooner had we finished recording last week's episode than probably the rugby league story of the year dropped. I refer, of course, to Toby Rudolf's aggravated mooning of a Sutherland Shire Council Park ranger.
Set the scene.
So, back in January, Rudolf was walking his 2 dogs off leash when he was spotted by a ranger who told him to put the dogs on leash. Toby only had 1 leash with him, so the ranger threatened to take one of the dogs off him. Now, firstly, Toby, put your bloody dogs on a leash. But secondly, if you're a park ranger, don't be a dickhead. Don't say you're going to steal people's dogs for minor infringements. Remind them of the rules and send them on their way. Come on.
Would that constitute a dog act?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Total dog act. Anyway, this is where the story gets interesting. According to the police statements of facts, when the ranger returned to his car, Toby Rudolf, quote, bent over, pulled down his shorts to expose his buttocks and spread the buttocks with his right hand. So that's quite a specific description.
Yes, it's not just a cheeky...
It wasn't a moon, it was a moon spread.
It was gone beyond a moonie to become a full brown eye, an escalation to say the least.
Are there regional terms for that, Dan?
Good question.
Between Victoria and New South Wales?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think we would need to establish certain facts here. What was the distance both between the victim and the perpetrator?
What I found very interesting is that the police have clarified he was able to spread the buttocks, plural, with 1 hand. So, he does have some big mitts, our Toby. He's definitely, capable of holding a steed and very comfortably in 1 hand. So I would imagine parting 2 cheeks wouldn't be a huge stretch. But
is this like an Ace Ventura thing? I wonder if he animated a bit of a speech, like, I do not want you to take my dog away. that kind of
and
thing.
And full credit to Toby for taking the creative approach of going to the trouble of dropping the strides here. I'd say that, the standard response from a normie like me might be to flip the bird at the Ranger, but as a citizen steeped in the culture of rugby league, Toby instead backed himself to dack himself, which is wonderful.
Just going back to a theme that we dropped last week, what would the spirit of the game officer say about this, James? If this was sent upstairs and they said, look, Toby, he's not happy, he's given him a moon. What do you think about the fact that he's being taken to court?
It's an interesting one. I think even the mooning in this particular context would not constitute rugby league.
Wow.
Being the answer. I think it's outside the bounds.
That's not what the zeitgeist is saying.
They're saying you should just be allowed to moon your local...
no, everybody was like, this is a great rugby league story. I love rugby league.
Oh, but he still needs to be sanctioned.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? Because as you said, dog off the leash, which is wrong. He admitted to it later. In fact, he said that the dog was from a shelter, had never been on a lead before.
Exactly.
And refute sort of the implication being that the dog is traumatized if it's on a lead.
Okay.
So in which case moral upper hand given against the officious council, I think they're called public safety and crime prevention officer. But then when you moon, if you do a cheeky moon, okay, we're still rugby leaguing. You do a moon with a brown eye, you've just tipped over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
I can't proudly say to any of my children, look at that. You're like up to that point, oh yeah, he stuck it to the man. Bit of a moon, that's really rugby league. But when you put that brown eye in there.
I think you're right.
Nope.
Once you serve the chocolate scallop, to use a regional term, that does cross the line, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From cheeky fun to actually indecent act.
It does paint a wonderful picture in terms of the courtroom drama unfolding. Not only would we be having, various courtroom diagrams and reenactments, maybe they would use, a soft toy or something like that to reenact the movement of the cheek.
That's right. He was in court last week, not for having the dog off a leash. That was not an issue. He was, he was charged with offensive behaviour in a public place for the brown eye and was facing the possibility of a $660 fine. He pleaded guilty and he wrote a heartfelt letter to the court expressing remorse. As a result, the judge said he won't have a conviction recorded. Toby had a great little quote afterwards, though. He said, I haven't really been in these situations a whole lot. My teammates do see me bare-bottomed, but that usually doesn't leave the locker room. I'll be looking to keep it that way in the future for sure. I'm looking forward to rectifying my mistakes and walking my dogs on a leash from now on. And I'm looking forward to getting back out on the field and keeping my pants up.
Oh, well, that's disappointing because here there's been a massive overcorrection and we've covered it in the show. You can go back and see the miracle moonings that have occurred that lead to wins in key games. I think it was interesting as well that his lawyer, although it didn't really pass muster to the court, played a very long montage of clips of players being mooned, both in games and during training, just to see that the dacking and mooning is part of his work culture.
Yeah, very much.
Indeed, the way, but that wasn't seen as anything that would mitigate the result. But that would be very disappointing if he kept his pants on within the rugby league context. I think we can all be pretty pretty clear that pants down rugby league is where the public wants it to be.
It's rugby league.
But just confined to the ground and the stadia.
Pants down, but cheeks together, please.
Yeah.
Adam, and not to his detriment, should be with the Australian diving team, such as the backflip that he's performed, I believe under duress.
Just a quick look around the socials. We've had a sickening trend happening across the league. We had the New Zealand Warriors sort of march out Andrew Webster on a interview set with the club statement graphic, only to announce that he had extended for a few years, and it wasn't quite the negative club statement that we are accustomed to in these situations.
Dan, it's been disgraceful. You had Andrew Webster earlier in that very same week, the sacred club statement, which obviously we previously took has been a moment of pause where you also got to find out who got in trouble for like crashing a car or, mooning a council worker, has been twisted into a disgusting engagement bait. I think the other one last week was Kalen Ponga, who grew a moustache. And that was used as a club statement.
So it's frame 1, club statement, frame 2, Kalen Ponga has a moustache.
And once you get into that, What happens when
it's a slippery slope?
Someone blows up the Green Tirana.
That's right.
It's becoming meaningless.
The club that cried statement. This is like the President of the United States doing an address to the nation and then being like, I got a new tie.
Yeah. Great lols. So, I mean, this is an institution. It
should not be trifled
Warriors and Knights.
Cut it out. Just stop it.
Be careful with the magic that you're playing with, because this one might come back to bite you. And next time it might not be a moustache that you're talking about. But I also wanted to just have a look at the social activity of the PNG Chiefs.
Oh, now you've gone from the...
You've gone from the gutter to the god tier.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, look, the PNG Chiefs, they haven't put out a lot, but they've just basically been working with announcing their first players. I think they're up to about 007 or 008. And of course, 007, when that dropped, it was Joey Manu. And they did a cute little riff on the fact that 007 is also, of course, James Bond's number. And they did a Photoshop job of Joey Manu with a cocktail suit. But yeah, love the poor Photoshop. So good work there. The rest of their media, however, is very high quality, very impactful videos. They get the opportunity to play with the emergence of the PNG identity and Pacifica Nations with this great final tagline, immortality awaits, which is very stirring to say that all these players that are signing with them will basically become the first, and their sort of legacy will last for generations to come. So these great videos where they tie in local communities and the religion of rugby league, as they mention within the PNG community.
Very good.
So I do feel for the Bears, because it's very hard to stack up against these videos.
It's very hard to say. Perth, the eternal city. For generations, we have been hungry beyond anything else. You know what I mean? But with the Chiefs, they're like, this is our blood. We grow up living, drinking, breathing, eating rugby league. And now introducing to you a brother from across the shore. Yeah. And then the history of the Cook Islands within PNG,
and they look great.
They're
beautifully made.
Do Chiefs communications and digital marketing staff get a tax-free salary as well?
Yeah, well, that's a good question.
No, you know what? That's a good point, but I don't know if they do, because from my mild previous experience in that part of the world, there is a lack of cynicism to what they're producing. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's not like your heavily optimized shit that a Western social media manager would do, i.e. if you look at the NRL, it's like, whatever the stupid fad is right now, we're just going to do. Yeah. And it's actually just more from the heart.
No, it's really great, because it sort of breaks standard format, which is really refreshing to see. And hopefully the same can be said for the Chiefs. I hope they become an exciting team.
I think so. Well, they've got one of the best theoretical backlines in the business. Depends how good that backline will be in 2028.
Yeah.
Because it will be a bit older. But I am worried a little bit about Alex Johnston being over there, specifically because, just talking about social media, Alex Johnston and Casey McLean are both very big Pokemon fans, seemingly. Yes. And I have become worried about the level of fandom again, within the context of them really needing to focus on rugby league first.
Right.
And the Pokemon opening parties that they do, going to the card shops, going to the trade shows, etc., etc. It does worry me a little bit if it's done during the season time. And we'll keep a watching brief on this. If it expands further than Casey, Alex and their immediate friends and partners, then I think we might have to call a bit of a red alert and have a proper special edition about this worrying trend of Pokemon cards within the NRL. I am also worried that Alex, when he moves to PNG in a couple of years, is not going to have access to authentic cards.
Oh,
and, geez, I hope he's thought of that.
Good point.
It might be he'll have to be using his tax-free bucks just to get some shipped directly on the boat from Japan or something, and they can stop off on the way through.
Well, I know a big part of being a pokey head is going to the release events at the particular hour and day when a new set drops, and being there and getting them and ripping them open and assembling your deck together.
Okay.
So has he ever faked injury to miss a game to do that, to attend one of those openings? Because they usually do occur on the weekend, judging by the game store down at Belconnen Mall, which I often walk by.
Okay.
And B, is he going to miss out on all those limited edition sets? Because I don't know if the Airways Resort in Port Moresby has a game shop.
Makes me think, actually, just looking at some of what he's up to, he might be in his contract. Each try you get a mint box.
Get a booster pack.
Still with the wrapper, because that is a great incentive.
Do you think we're sort of on a slippery slope to him having to actually open a packet after every try? Instead of being handed a drink bottle, he'll just be given an unopened deck.
Yeah, and then he has to tear it open. What have I got?
Flash him open.
Yeah.
James, do you know if these players are actually playing the game with these cards, or is it purely about opening them and looking for rarities?
All I see them do is open them. And both these players we're talking about have a very good season, so we are not casting dispersions. We are merely saying this is an emerging risk within the game.
It's worth keeping an eye on, yes.
Yeah, worth keeping an eye on.
One needs to reinvigorate one's muse during the season, so, it's better than being out on the town. It's at least kind of a pretty subdued, pretty wholesome event.
True. I mean, if the question is, would you rather me open all these Pokemon cards with my partner or my mates in my bedroom, or get in a Tirana that's not mine, not insured, crash it into a telephone pole, burn it, then the answer is clear.
Those guys are pretty good players too, so that works for them. I guess it's just
true.
What works for you.
I love the bears. I do. I love being a big bear. Big cuddly one, no. Not the big bear, the big cuddly one. There's a place for rugby league and there's a place for the Perth Bears.
So a fun little story that's been panning out as the last few days have unfurled is the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, who have been hit with a COVID outbreak ahead of their must-win clash against the Penrith Panthers. As of 3 days ago, the report said there was 5 players infected. As of 2 days, it was out to 10. One of the players mentioned, Kurt Mann, has been omitted from the side due to a groin strain, but no other players have been dropped due to illness. And so I'm wondering, is this just an unspoken rule in the NRL that if players are able to trot out, they then bypass any sort of question of spreading a highly contagious disease? And further to that, do the Panthers have any say in who they are potentially packing a scrum with? I know that they do not want to get an outbreak in their team heading into the finals.
It's a good point, Dan, isn't it? I mean, 5 years ago, if you raised the prospect of 10 players in a team having COVID-19, it would be a crisis, a season-ending crisis probably.
Yeah.
So it is interesting how things have changed. I would love to know what the RLPA think about this as a sort of a work health and safety issue.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Simon, things have changed, but within the new norm, we sort of just trust that people will take care of themselves and not march people out if they're in unfit states. But of course, as I mentioned, this is a must-win game for the Bulldogs, and I'm pretty sure that they would be desperate to put all their best players out there, hell or high water.
They need them there.
They probably wouldn't be wheeling out COVID tests before the games just to do their due diligence.
I think the Panthers should be very, very worried about losing this game because, of course, one of the side effects of COVID is brain fog, which is also a side effect of concussion.
Ooh.
So I think what we could see is that those 10 Dogs players, if they can actually take the field, essentially they'll be playing with some degree of brain injury, and thus channeling the mindset of the great Bulldogs hard men of the 1980s. It's Terry Lamb, David Gillespie, Steve Mortimer, who won multiple premierships with concussion, no doubt.
I see, yeah. So it's going to aid them.
I think it could aid them to
taking the edge off,
bring back the golden era of the Dogs.
Just taking that edge of self-preservation off their performance. They're just going to hit hard.
That's right. Switch the brain off. Just run it straight.
Jeez, not a bad idea. But yeah, I do wonder what will happen. I mean, they've only got so many people named on the extended bench.
I reckon they'll be right. They're not normal people like you and me. They're very
and they're probably on the ivermectin or whatever it is.
Right.
What's that shit?
Pumping the antivirals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it ivermectin? Can't even remember.
Yeah, that was ivermectin.
Yeah. They're probably juicing on the ivermectin.
They'll have some sort of experimental treatment, PVL, and
good.
Have some connections in the sort of medical research world, I'm sure.
But good luck to them all, and I do hope that there are healthy boys out on the park come Friday night.
I just don't know what the hell they're doing.
through earthquake or by slip of what before upheld it, from the summit whence it went, far as the plain the shattered rocks supply. Some sort of foothold to who makes descent, such was the passage down the precipice high. And on the riven gully's very brow lay spread at large the cretin infamy, which was conceived in the pretended cow. Us when he saw, he bit himself for rage, like one whose anger gnaws him through and through. Perhaps thou deemest called him to the sage. This is the Duke of Athens drawing nigh, who war to the death with thee on earth did wage. Begone thy brute, for this one passing by, untutored by thy sister, has thee found, and only comes thy sufferings to spy. Friends, and on it goes, Canto 11 onwards, which is, of course, the 7th level of hell within Dante's Inferno that we've carried along with us as the season has gone by. And it is the level of violence, probably the greatest phase of Dante's Inferno, whereby violence is wrought across time and space, and all manner of demons, humans, and everything in between are exposed within this.
Wonderful.
And really, this very much relates to this pointy end of the season that we're now in, whereby for all of August, teams have been fighting for their lives as much as they can to reach that top 8. And as you were speaking about earlier in the show, Dan, it's pretty much locked in now.
Close to.
Also, within this phase, we do go through murder, suicide, blasphemy, sodomy, and usury, which is more or less rugby league things potentially. I don't know what usury is though. That's probably something incredibly terrible.
I hope we haven't said something really bad on the show.
Oh, no, it's the practice of making loans that are unfairly enrich the lender.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. Well, we've spoken on Pokemon cards, PNG Chiefs, it's all there. It's all been covered. It also includes centaurs, harpies, etc., I think, as well. So just a really interesting time.
Mad Monday.
Yeah, this is Mad Monday.
That's a Mad Monday reference.
It is.
I feel like the physical violence has been, well short of expectations of late. I was sort of just thinking about the 4 sin binnings and 3 players put on report during the Storm Panthers game Thursday gone. And among them was 3 professional fouls, 1 report for making contact with the ref, and 1 high shot with Jack Cogger immediately apologised and slapped himself on the head for making such a dumb mistake.
That should cancel out the sin binning if you do that.
If he's remorseful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not quite the bloodshed that we had in mind. And I was actually, maybe I've just got a very short memory, but it does feel like NRL players have been quite well behaved this season.
Yeah.
We haven't had many drug-related scandals. Everyone seems to have been keeping themselves,
The worst violence has been wrought on the scoreline records.
That's true. We've copped a pummeling.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah. They have been a unusually well-behaved bunch.
Yeah.
The occasional mooning or nicely rolled spliff aside. We've had very little to talk about on this podcast.
But that's right. I mean, it's a wonder that we've managed to pull a show together every week.
Yeah, because the entire purpose of the show is to talk about that. We waited for months for the Rudolf story, which is actually something to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's been so much else happening in our NRL, we haven't really needed to worry too much about violence. Well, let's hope this round, the last round of violence, we actually get, a couple of punches thrown. They don't have to connect.
Yep.
Some argy-bargy.
Make some hay with those,
some run-ons.
Fists,
just get
boys.
the hate going. Please, gentlemen, please, and ladies, for this last week of violence, get something going.
Maintain some decency in the game.
This week in...
Thank you for that wonderful intro. I am going to have to stop watching the robot games soon in order to really focus on the NRL starting tonight. Just a quick question on the robot games, though, guys. Pretty scary, some of the scenes coming from them as robots run only in a straight line into
crash into
a mat and then are no longer operable. So when you see that, not particularly scared about the impending robot apocalypse, but knowing that they've gone from not being able to run to run pretty quickly, maybe soon they'll be able to turn corners and then soon they might be able to evade being tripped over and that sort of thing. But any thoughts on that? And thoughts on when PVL will be introducing robot NRL?
I think you can do it. If the robots can run straight in a straight line very fast and crash into something, they're ready.
But the problem is they then crash into other robots and then they're inoperable. Like you'd think after they hit the track pad, maybe they can learn to slow down, or if every hit up is just going to be a robot running into other robots, and then no robots then get up after that, and the ball is dropped, then we're not going to get very far, are we?
Just maybe have an extended squad of like 300 or 400 robots, and you can just keep subbing them on. PVL will do that.
Or you just have one robot per. This is what it'll be. This time next year, I am not joking because I know we're about to think about. This time next year, some teams that haven't made the 8 are going to be allowed to have one robot per team
as a trial.
One robot on the
bench, and they will get up and they will be passed the ball from dummy half. They'll have to be handed it. They won't even be able to catch it, and then they will just run straight into a human who will sort of trip it over or knock it over. And we'll go from there. And I legitimately think that that's what is actually going to happen, judging on the pace of technology and the mood of the overlords of the NRL.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you're referencing the proposed kickoff rule change, which was a somewhat controversial change that was raised at the start of the year. Was voted down, I think, quite healthily, with the exception of a few voices. The change is, of course, under the new rule, a team that concedes a try, penalty or field goal will then choose to either kick off or receive, as opposed to just kicking off, as was the previous setup. And this weekend, actually tonight's game between the Broncos and Storm will be the first game where they trial this, of course, given that these teams no longer factor in the finals implications. So, as I mentioned, very unpopular with the exception of Wayne Bennett and Peter V'landys, I assume. And
two very successful people in their own right, to be fair.
Also very, very charismatic characters. Could you imagine, being at a blue light disco and a young Peter V'landys and Wayne Bennett came over sort of with slicked back hair and ciggies under their sleeve, and maybe you just catch the reflection of a switchblade under the street lights. They would be some very intense characters.
They would, and they'd be saying,
over.
Wayne Bennett would be saying "Oh, you know what? This should be a maroon light disco."
This would be a maroon light disco. You'd be like, sorry, what was that? I guess you're talking to me. And then PVL would kind of muscle in. What my friend is trying to say, hang on, are you looking at my large feet?
Is we need a better variety of wide feet.
Of course, Simon sensationally dropped the news that PVL has extraordinarily wide feet on last week's episode, and I'm still reeling, to be totally honest. Anyway, so I'll go on, but what do you guys think of the new kickoff rule?
Well, we know PVL gets bored on a Thursday night, so I guess this is his way of entertaining himself by forcing last year's grand final teams to
how the mighty have fallen
debut this farce in prime time.
That's right.
I mean, look, we've been open about just stopping with the fiddle, and I think that applies particularly with this. I would love to see both teams making a sort of a gentleman's agreement that the conceding team will always just kick off as usual.
Yeah.
Just to completely neutralise the farce.
I know that Gus Gould and Paul Gallen hate it. Gus mentioned that they've tried it before. They did it in the Super League. He did mention that was 30 years ago, and who knows what the rule set was at that stage, but he thinks it made it worse. Gal thinks it's ridiculous. I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to say that given the current rule set, I actually think it will help. But I would like to
have fallen for the trap, Dan.
I have.
This is exactly what the plan's always been.
However, my stipulation would be that you don't get to choose. It should just switch.
I would also love to see if the conceding team does choose to receive the kickoff, then the other team sort of turns and chucks a brown eye at them just before the kickoff.
Not just a moon.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
Quite a bit happening in this game on top of that, because I think there's been a bit of a furore, what I call a furore.
Yeah, very nice.
I think others call a furore. around...
so cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
Around Adam Reynolds
and
his farewell. And there seems to be a conjecture on top of the furore. Can one of you illuminate me on this very complex scenario with some...
Seems to be changing by the hour.
Happening by the hour. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps by the time that listeners get to this story, there will be a different version altogether. But as of the time of this recording, Reyno went on the record a couple of days ago to say that he was good to go. He's not 100%, but his team's out of the finals race.
We're out of the finals, so we're playing this stupid confection with a shit rule. Can't you just let me get in there and play?
It's a complete novelty game that he's happy to, come off the bench for 20 minutes or something like that. This, of course, is his swan song. A couple of games for a very decorated career that will end at a team that he played in 2 grand finals and won a premiership with. But as of yesterday, he then found out that he wasn't in the team list. And so he went then on the record and said, yeah, that was a plan that we had. We sort of decided this, and sort of went into bat for the selectors and for his coach, and said that, his relationship with his coach is very good. And so, but there's a disconnect that obviously a lot of journalists have jumped onto. Paul Crawley, he asked what has forced him to do this Olympic backflip, and then fellow journalist David Riccio, or is it Riccio?
I think Riccio.
Adam, and not to his detriment, should be with the Australian diving team, such as the backflip that he's performed, I believe, under duress. Wow. So a great little backflip riff there from 2 of NRL 360's greats. But yes, it seems to be the only question is who actually knows whether he's going to be playing, and what is Adam's pet event at the Olympics.
To add a little spice to that, or to use a diving metaphor, Reece Walsh has pulled a bomb off top tower on Tuesday by liking a post criticising Coach Maguire for leaving Reynolds out of the team and then later deleting it. So
I see. Okay.
There's that little side plot.
That's great.
Subplot as well.
I did have a great little gag on this. I think it's making me think of the Australian weightlifting team in the clean and jerk, with Adam looking clean and Madge looking like a jerk. It's a good joke, isn't it, guys?
Very nice.
That's a very good joke. Yeah. And that's a great segue into somebody that doesn't look like a jerk right now, which is Wayne Bennett. And Wayne actually had the excellent idea of helping Jai Arrow to get to 100 games for the Rabbitohs by including him in the squad for the last 2 Rabbitohs games. So Jai Arrow is the captain, officially named captain of the Rabbitohs for their match in the Gold Coast on Saturday.
It is, yes,
Saturday 3 p.m. He's named as lock in the starting side. I think he'll come onto the field and then get off the field, and he'll do that again in the following game to reach that 100 milestone. So pretty amazing what you can do to honour somebody that is important to a club if you really put your mind to it. And,
hang on. I think this reminds me of the Adam Reynolds snubbing. Yes. Yes, certain parallels there. It's interesting, though, because Maguire wasn't as generous as Bennett in that situation.
No.
Yeah, interesting. And thanks for mentioning that, James.
Poetically, if you go to the NRL website to read the story about this, you'll see a photo of Adam Reynolds standing next to Jai Arrow at Jai's birthday party that they had a month or so ago.
We'll see how this pans out and see if we will be awarding the Brisbane Broncos our Stench Award. But of course, it's already at the Broncos after their...
was it Ben Roberts-Smith?
Yeah.
Ben Roberts-Smith.
So, Dan, have you worked out what you do with a double stench? I don't think we thought it was possible.
I think it festers.
Okay. It's just...
Yeah. Doubles down.
Right,
but we'll see.
Powerball.
I mean, they've still got a chance to rectify things in the week, and if Reyno pulls on the boots.
Now, one other game to call out. 2 other games to call out real quick. Then we'll move to W. Roosters, Dolphins. Roosters need to bounce back. They had that shock loss last week playing the Dolphins. That's 3rd versus 4th. Tantalising.
They show up for the big games, though, so that'll be great.
The Dolphins need to keep going for us true finheads. Hey, guys. And then we've also got the Warriors versus the Knights. So the Warriors are currently 1st, Knights 6th. Warriors are only 1 point in the points difference above the Panthers. So if we think about what we were talking about with the Bulldogs who need to win but are undergoing a COVID cloud against the Panthers. Basically, it's a shootout now between the Warriors and the Panthers because the Roosters can't catch them. They're too far behind. As to who, well, probably can't catch them. Who knows in this crazy day and age. But the Warriors, if they want to keep top spot, they need to keep on winning by a greater rate than the Panthers do. So that'll be a couple of good ones to watch. And then over in the W, there is another huge game, and it's on Saturday at 1:45, which is the Titans v the Raiders. Some would say the two hottest teams in the comp.
12:45 in my my local.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I made a huge error. I didn't convert it to 12:45. So it's 12:45. It's a beautiful Saturday lunchtime. Get down to your local, enjoy a meal of your choice. And catch that one.
Yeah, I mean, that is two teams on the top of their game. Titans have gone clear in second spot. The Raiders making up the 4 at the moment with their impressive win over the Dogs last week. But it'll be great to see who comes out on the top of that. They've got different brands. I mean, I'm not going to make any guesses. Last week I suggested that the Warriors-Roosters game was going to be a good matchup of compatible sides, and the Roosters ended up putting 66 on the Warriors. So I'll stay out of the game of predictions.
Challenge that record this weekend, I reckon, against the 11th placed Sharks.
Well, you never know. They're in fine form, those Roosters. There's a few games that the Warriors need to bounce back. That will be interesting. The Dragons have certainly showed enough to trouble the Warriors, but at home, and the Warriors, smarting from that aforementioned loss against the Roosters. I'm excited to see that the final game of the weekend, West Tigers and Bulldogs. The West Tigers have found themselves somewhat unconvincingly in the third spot on the table, but clear in third, and they're coming up against the Dogs. Now, the Dogs, they've shown some good results through the season. They're also coming off a big loss to the Raiders last week, but they're in that 3 wins category, looking to try to sneak in for one of those final spots of the 6. So it's definitely winnable for them. So that'll be a really fun one to watch. And the Wests obviously have that opportunity to solidify their form and stick in that top 4 position. So some great games. And of course, Brigginshaw, she'll be back to try to bring the Broncos back to the winners list, and we'll see if the Eels can give them a handful.
You wouldn't need to be a Sophie holy man to know that it's going to be another great round in the Telstra Women's Premiership.
Yeah, really good. We started
there it is. Worth the wait.
I don't want to hide in the coach's box. I'm here to fight, here to win. I'm on the sideline with the team fighting hard as I can.
Okay, time to close up the Hellmouth for another week. Thank you very much for listening to our silly rugby league podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe on every and any platform you can.
Oh, Simon, I'm just going to chime in. People out there, listeners, please prepare your clairvoyant pets. I would like us to run a bit of a mystical pet competition running through the finals. So everyone out there with a pet who can choose between 2 options will be running a Paul the Octopus style bracket heading through the finals. So please prepare your animals and make sure their minds are ready to see into the future.
All right, well said. Now it's over to James for his final thought.
Imagine this. Your hands are placed perfectly with surgical precision. You slowly open to reveal something incredibly special. No, it's not a rare Pokemon card. It's a bare ass. But listener, that's where you need to leave it. We don't care who you are on this show. A bare ass is beautiful. A wide ass goes too far. And no rugby league immortal will approve of its use, both in public or within a rugby league ground. But in the privacy of your own home with another consenting adult, that's probably okay. I'm hitting the immortal button now to get a call from Wally Lewis.
Certainly for me, yeah. Well,
yes, he's saying it is.
The opportunity to be able to talk to people about that and advise them if they're looking for good help.
No matter where you're mooning this weekend, if you're a receiver or a giver, enjoy what will be a great round of rugby league. Ave Toby Rudolf. Ave Wally Lewis. Anyway, Dan, that's violence, and we'll see you next month as we move into fraud.
Oh my!
And I think fraud's going to be a lot about the bottom 8 sides and whether or not they actually deserve to be there. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Speaking as a Storm fan, we'll see what happens. Yep.
Oh well, Storm fans know a bit about fraud, so
indeed.
Should be a good one.
Oh, you people never forget. Can't we move on?
I've moved on. That was one for the fans, for the listeners.
Oh, yeah.